Okay, as you can see, these are the centre wheels. I haven't printed out all the parts at the moment, but as you'll probably know, there's three different types of these. There's an A, B, and a C because the offset's slightly different, and an A and a B will bolt together. So you can have a socket on one side and a raised section on the other side. The C, all the difference is just, I think the offset of this section as in relation to that is different. So you can probably see it actually. Yeah, you can. So if you look at an A, that piece, that hole there is sort of pointing in the middle there. Whereas if you look at a C, it's pointing towards the corner pieces, so it's just slightly changed. So if you have an A and a B lined up with an A and a C, you're going to be slightly different on the angle there, which will mean that the rollers are always touching the ground. It'll become a lot more obvious when you actually put them together. That's an A and a B, which I've just partly assembled. I haven't actually got the bearings in the middle at the moment. I was just making sure it's sort of fitted. But the way they go in, we've got the bearings. These are 606ZZ, 6x17x6. I've managed to get a packet of 10, and I've also got, these are the they're the 606ZZ. And these are a different size. There's two different sizes in there, but the bearings will sit inside there. I've also then cut a load of these. These are the 3mm little bars. I managed to get 5 pieces of 3mm steel by 300mm pieces from Amazon. On Prime, so I could actually get it really quickly. The other stuff, which was slightly shorter, was like a 2 to 3 week delivery. It's only £5, I think. And you need 40 of these, and out of the 5 pieces, I managed to get 40 with a tiny bit of offcuts. So if I lose one, I'll have to buy a whole new set. But it worked out quite nicely to actually get these bars, and just so you can see them there. And I spent quite a bit of time cutting them up with a hacksaw and then filing down the end so there wasn't any burrs on them. They're not all quite the same length, but they do fit, so they'll just fit in there with the rollers on them. As I say, that took quite a while actually, 2 or 3 hours to to file all those down, cut them and file them down. I'm still printing the, let's make sure you can see it. Yeah, you can. The nylon rollers, which is what's printing on the printer in the background there. These just need a touch of cleaning up. Sandpaper. There's a slight burr on the end of those, but it comes off fairly easy. I'll just clean those up and then we'll assemble one. Okay, I've just given these a bit of a clean up with the file. There's a slight burr on the corners on either side of it, as if they've been stuck together. They haven't. They've actually been printed vertically. That's nylon, Talman nylon, which I'd never printed before, but it was fairly easy. It took me a couple of attempts to get it right, but that's from Amazon UK again, so Talman 10663, I think that's called, nylon 230, and that cost me £17.72 if you're interested for a drum. So they're at nylon. This is just standard PLA. To print that, I had a couple of attempts. I'm printing on my original Prusa, and I'm printing at 240 degrees and 80 degrees on the bed. I tried it at 90 degrees on the bed, and the whole thing, I got thermal runaway. So the second, just dropped the temperature on the bed, and it's fine. I did have one failure on one of these, which was almost at the end where they fell off the bed and just didn't print the top. So I'll just reprint some more, but I'm printing him in batches of 4, which I'll show you in a minute anyway. Yeah, I mean you can print loads all at the same time, but these will just actually what we'll do is we'll put in, so starting from the beginning, you've got the bearing sits in there. I found it's easier if you also put in your bolts. These are at least 2 of them. These are 20mm bolts. They can just sit in there. When I was looking at the instructions, it looked a lot more complicated to make these wheels than it's actually turned out. They're actually really quite simple. And that will just sit on. Are you going to have the other one? It's going to have the nut socket on it. That'll sit on like that. Once you've got one nut in, the whole thing holds together. So they sit in, so there's M4 20mm bolts, M4 nuts, and that is it basically. So that's an A, that's a B. There's A, B, A, B, A, B on 3 of the wheels, and then A, C on the 3rd one, on one of them. So that is a wheel there. I'm just going to put the rest together. Well, I've got to put the bearings in those. I was just testing to see if those good, if they went together all right. I've also cut the studding, which goes through the middle of here. I haven't actually put this in yet, so we'll see how that goes. Just cut some M6, 2 pieces of M6 studding, and see how this threaded nuts go on it. So I will just go off camera for a minute. Okay, as you can see, I'm just finishing off. I've now assembled all 4 of the wheels, not those 2. So I've got, so I've got, that's an A and a B, that's an A and a B, that's an A and a B, and that's the odd one, which is the B and C. So from what I can work out, these will go, these bits will latch in, like so. In fact, I think on the instructions, they're actually putting the C there. So let's try that one. That's A, B, A, C, and that's an A and a B, and that's an A and a B. So does that look like the drawing? That looks fairly like the drawing of on the instructions. So I think the idea is you've always got a roller clutching, which seems to work. You've then got these little sections which just fill up the end, so you've got that at either side. And then I've got my bolt. And that is a set. So I'm just going to go off camera actually, because we're in London and we've got the most bizarre weather, so it's actually it's really windy and my garden's falling apart. So I'll just put this aside and I'll get back on the camera in a few minutes. Okay, so I've just been working out the best way to put this together. So what I've done is I've slotted a notch in the end of the bar there, so you can just use it as you can get a screwdriver in there. I've got a standard nut on that side, put a standard nut in there, but a captive nylock sitting on that side. So once it's in, it'll all hold together. So we'll go through that one onto a washer. Well, that's through, so that'll take. So I'm going to have to screw through that thread. I can do it by hand, but when it gets to the nylock, I'll have to use a screwdriver. Right, that's now up to the end. And somehow have to get a washer in there, which is going to be fun. So I pause there, well, a cup of tea appeared, which is rather nice. Just slot that washer in there. Just take this back out a bit. I assembled this earlier and I managed to get it together. I wasn't filming it, so to get it apart again. There it goes. Tighten that through. As you can see, it's just coming into that side. That nylock locks it up really, it's quite tight, that, so it's not going to come undone. So there we are, so that's in that side, that's in that side. You can see the washer in there. That spins really well. And move side to side. So that's I think that's a major success. That's really good. Very pleased with that. I'll show you the nylon wheels which are on the printer. I'm printing forward a time. You can actually see the damage I've done to my print bed as well. Not with these, but just with this a while back. And then I called it again, and it's getting really bad. So there's quite a bit of damage there. I just ordered a new piece of surface from Prusa, and I was just watching the videos of how to stick it on, which doesn't seem too difficult, but it's a bit annoying. I was also looking at maybe it's worth upgrading this. This is a Mark IIs to a Mark 2.5, but I don't really think I will, because I've still got my one Hoa other printer in bits that I need to repair, so I don't want to add two little jobs, because I just want to get done. So, but I will repair that surface, because that is bad. Just back to this. As I said, most of these parts I got from Amazon. I got this bar, which I've cut down, that stuff. That came in 300mm chunks, five in a pack, and that was £7.18 for 5 packs. And I've just cut that down into 42mm, I think. I got. I actually originally ordered 80mm pieces, but they're not going to come until end of August, so that's why I reordered the other stuff cheaper. quicker rather. I've got the 2 sets of different sorts of bearings. These are the 608s for the wheels. So there's two types, the 608 ZZ and 606 ZZ. These are the 606, I believe, for the smaller wheels. It's on the drawing somewhere. Yeah, 606 ZZ, 6 by 17 by 6 mil. They're coming. That's a pack of 10. They come in sets of 20, and that cost £8.99 for the 606 for 20 of them, and the 608s were £6.10 for 20. I bought the Talman filament, which I didn't have any nylon filament. That cost me £17.72 from Amazon for 300mm, and a few other bits and pieces. There's a sorry, there's a list. Larry's done a sort of hardware list on the 3D printer site, and that shows it on Amazon.com in the US, but it's pretty much the same on the UK. It's all available. I didn't find anything that wasn't available. 20mm bolts, nuts and bolts. I think I got those from eBay in the end. So those are the main things. So I'm just going to continue. I printed a couple of that's an A and a C. So I've just got to print some more A's and B's and do the other stuff. Okay, so just show you where I am with the base. The one thing I hadn't printed were the ribs, because I think I mentioned in a previous video that I was having I used to use Slick R Slicer R3 slicer program, and it hasn't really got a way to stick the to align these on the bed properly, because when you get the SDLs, they come in sort of all, they come in mid-air basically, and you've got to lie them flat, and it was becoming a bit of a nightmare. But I was recommended by Alex. He commented in one of my videos to try Simplify 3D. So thank you very much, Alex, because I've went out and bought that, and it allows you to. I mean, if you've got Simplify 3D, you know all of this, but I didn't. That you can just pick a point and it'll lie straight flat on the bed. So doing these pieces was so much easier. So they were the first bits I've actually sliced with Simplify 3D, which I bought, and it seems really good. I'm still slightly getting my head around it, but I use the default options generally. So for the Prusa, and seems to work fine. I've had to sort of learn how to change heat bed settings and stuff when I was doing the nylon prints, because again that was on the Simplify 3D as well, so which is mine now, which I use for everything now. So so that was really good. So they worked out. They were really easy to slice, and they just slot in. They're all numbered. It's 1 to 9 and A, B and C. So I suppose you don't want to get 10 because you can't get 2 numbers in there. So for example, that's A, if you can see that, and they fit it absolutely perfectly. So those ribs, that's A in there, that's B, let's check the number, and another number, there's number 1. It's got a number 1 there, and that's a number 1, and again absolutely perfect fit. So it's so I've just got to, this is just held together by tape. I've just got to glue this together, put these pieces in. There's these 2 bits that go on the top, like so. There's small little holes there to line up with the some holes in there. I have to put in some filament just to lock it together. So I've just got to finish this, finish printing all the wheels as I was mentioning just now, and obviously this goes. Going something like that, and I've just finished. What we just heard, the next batch of those. These just come off really easily. They're slightly, they feel quite malleable when they come straight off the bed, but Just let them cool down a bit before I do anything. And you can see there's slightly overhang on there, not overhang, just a seam on there. That's another full done. Back to there, let's just come up a bit. I think I showed you this last week, but that will obviously bolt on there. That bolts through on those bolts and will sit inside there. So that's it for the minute. I'm just going to reset up the next print.